Whoops. Hey everyone, Angela O'Hare here and Rob Howe. Whoops. Do you hear my dogs barking?
I can hear your dogs barking. Hi, Ange.
Hey Rob. This is the first time that we have gone live in this whole avenue. We're using a broadcasting called StreamYard, which is pretty cool. And of course, now I can't stop and pause and edit and get rid of these barking dogs.
They usually don't do this, even when we're there.
Oh my God,
even
yes, they're annoying.
Maybe a little bit, but not like this.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Hey! So
how are you? I'm doing great.
Good. Everyone, if you're on, post a comment. Let us know what you think of this whole new setup. It's going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll start doing our market updates this way, huh?
Yeah. If we can do them, I think it's easy for you and easy for me.
Yep.
So we can do a combination, maybe. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
So anyway, we thought it would be cool because every market update we do, we always end up being like 30, 45 minutes. So we thought we'd create the Rob and Ange Real Estate Hour where we just talk about real estate. Usually we like to have a topic in mind. Each month will happen like mid-month, towards the end of the month, whenever it's like 2 weeks after we're done doing our market update. That way our market updates hopefully won't be so long. Right?
Yeah. Hey,
so we like to talk.
That's the intent.
So the subject that we are talking about today is now a good time to buy in Las Vegas? And Rob, you had some thoughts on that?
Oh yeah, I've got plenty of thoughts on is now a good time to buy in Las Vegas. I think it's because I get asked that a lot, right? I'm sure you do too.
Right.
Yeah, it's a big question. You know, people go, should we really be buying right now because this market is so high and there's so much intensity? And so there's a lot that I could say about that. And I would kind of start my question. I don't think it's easy to directly just say yes or no to somebody because there could be a yes or a no. So it's a little bit of a maybe. So my first thing is to ask a question back and find out the situation, right? For example, it might not be the best time to invest in Las Vegas. Like as if you're an investor buying a property and thinking that you're gonna watch it rise in equity a whole bunch, and that might not be the best scenario.
I kind of disagree with you on that end, just because I'm working with a lot of investors that are buying new construction. So I have a prime example. I have 2 clients that bought in the Great Cliff Village over there in Lennar. And their home was what, $700,000. Even if they were to sell that home right now, they've already gained $100,000 in equity. But they found renters. One is they found a renter for $4,000 a month, and another renter for $5,000 a month.
Yeah. No, look, I think strong stays strong. So in the good areas, you want property in those areas if you're going to invest. Now, this is the thing. Even for an investor, I have to ask you, what is your scenario? Some of these investors have portfolios that they have a lot of money that they're going to spread around, and so maybe it makes sense for them to put in something as strong as real estate, something that generally is going to stay strong. But if you're expecting this big windfall of equity, maybe that's not a good expectation. That's kind of why I was starting there. It's just
it's property investors or investors for rental.
Well, if you can find I'm talking about investors for rental mostly. If you can find something you can flip, I mean, good luck. That's another place that I would say maybe now's not the time unless you find the magic bean. It have to be magical, and people are finding them. They're just not very often. They're more rare than ever, and so then I'd move over to speak. That's just from the investor angle. What is your deal? So the same thing if you're buying primary residence. what situation are you in? Are you in a situation where you can come in and compete in the market? And if you're buying your primary residence, I like you buying regardless right now, because what's your alternative? You're going to rent. And you just told me some rent prices to be in those areas. So if you want to be in the top areas, you're going to be paying some cheddar. So I would rather you purchase your property, be happy with the comfortable payment, hopefully, as long as the payment is comfortable for you. You're not putting yourself in the poorhouse every month. That would be silly. So that's another thing to talk about. So those types of questions I would have. And then, I would say maybe if you're in a situation where you can't compete as much, where you're like, I don't have a ton of money to throw towards if it doesn't appraise or, things like that, then maybe waiting just a touch and seeing what happens in this market, which I think a lot of people are doing, and seeing if things sort of loosen up a little bit more for over time, more inventory. We're starting to see it. It's going to take time. You don't know how long. Nobody knows how long it's going to be till it sort of flips to more of a buyer-friendly market. But right now, we're still incredibly seller market. So if you don't want to deal with that, then maybe now's not the time to buy for you. Maybe you're going to have to set the trap and wait, which is, I think, a very intelligent thing to do if you can.
Right.
Some
and
people
if you
can't.
buy it as a second home, too, is that your interest rates are going to be considerably higher than if it was a primary home. So, if you don't need this as a second home right now, then I would definitely, every situation is different.
Very much so. I just had an investor buy basically what is going to be their second home, but they're doing an investment property. They sold a property and did a 1031 exchange. They made a bunch of money, and they wanted to reinvest in Vegas. That was a very smart and nice little move for them to do in that situation, and their money's making money in a market where they knew that the rental market would remain strong. That's not changing for any. I can't even. Right now, it's years out before I think the rental market really changes.
And another thing that they keep on bringing up, and we have no idea when this is going to happen, is that the interest rates are still incredibly low. And even though the prices are going high, because of this incredibly low interest rates, it makes the payments a little more manageable.
That's it. That's the big magic pill right there. Is your interest? Are the interest rates making that purchase and then the down payment that you can put down, making that monthly payment something that's easily managed? Right. Especially when you look at it versus renting, then your choice is pretty obvious. And some people, especially, you work with a lot of out-of-state buyers. I work with a few here and there. They're coming and they have to buy. Right. They're in a situation, they're either going to get plunged into renting and hate that, or they're going to buy. So they're very, very motivated. They have to get it done. If you're in that situation, there's no reason not to get it done. Your threshold is probably very different than what maybe some Vegas residents have been used to in the last several years. So get in while the getting's good, get in while that interest rate's hot, and then just be happy because you put yourself in a good situation.
Yeah, sometimes I think the market is slowing down, it's starting to stabilize, it's softening, and then there's a week where I'm just like, oh my God, I thought this market was slowing down. But if you do look at the amount of time that homes are staying on the market, to me, that is a prime indication that the market is definitely softening, where on a normal weekend, if a home hasn't sold, then to me, by at least a week or 2 weeks out, if it hasn't already gone under contract, then that means it's, in my opinion, overpriced, or if it's not in a great area, or, there's other factors involved in that.
Ultimately, it's overpriced. Because, if it needs upgrades, people don't want to spend the money, you're asking too much. It's in not a location that doesn't comp out, doesn't.
I'm seeing that the buyers are becoming more savvy. I'm not seeing as many multiple offer situations unless that home is like,
right.
All the bells and whistles.
The strong stay strong home, right? Yeah.
Exactly. But in some cases, I've gotten deals where it's under asking price and we didn't have to compete at all, which was nice. 2 months ago, the market was a lot different, but now the things are shifting.
Yeah, for sure. Seeing it, and we've talked about it. The sellers are, well, Mama said they'd be doing this, and she was right. Sellers get a little greedy.
These sellers are a little cray-cray.
They're a little greedy. Some of them, I can actually say that's not a bad idea. If you're just saying, give me my price and I'll move.
Right.
And if not, I'll see how long I keep it on the market and then get rid of it. That I see happening. I've got a friend that's selling a property in Mount Charleston, doing that same exact thing. He's like, well, if it doesn't sell, it doesn't sell. Right. We'll readjust. But if I can get my number, great. You see that, and then you just see the straight up greedy. There are far fewer miracles in the marketplace, like I like to say.
Right. And so now it's end of August. We're now getting into the more traditional time frame of the selling season, September, October, November. The holidays are fast approaching. I don't think that this season's going to be like last season when it comes to being as busy. Just because now I think we're starting to, things are starting to get back to normal. Kids are going back to school. It's more becoming a traditional market.
Did you experienced the traffic this week, right?
Oh my God. My daughter was like, what's going on?
Right. Traffic. Right. So school activity clearly makes for a very different, set of things that people are dealing with. And you can see it on the roadways. And they made the wise decision of doing a whole lot of construction at the very same time, which just boggles my mind. But anyway, point being is, yes, they're getting back to what I think are traditional. We're getting back to what are more traditional movements, not just in the real estate market, but what happens in school, what happens just in our general lives. And I think we're going to see that expressed in the market through the holidays, like you were saying.
Right. And also, too, even though last month we had a record high median price of $405,000, I think because we are getting more homes on the market, did you check to see if did you look at that number? I didn't look at that number. How many homes are coming on the market?
How many are currently on the market? No, I haven't.
Yeah, I didn't look at total listings. I look at total sold for the month so far. However, I didn't look at total listings. But more homes are coming on the market. Those homes are staying on the market a lot longer. So sellers aren't getting, and this is how I surmise things are softening, and sellers aren't getting what they initially set out to get. So I think
they're shooting for the stars. Yeah, they're shooting for the stars. And when we've had the kind of increases that we've had, it just shows that now we're starting to hit that wall. And again, unless it's a really amazing property, great area, great location, great condition, great upgrades, things like that, you might not be able to expect that you're going to get over the last comp anymore. I mean, you just might not be doing that. So,
or multiple offers.
Yeah. So if you don't get those multiple offers, that changes things. It changes things, right? I will say that I see the buyers are still expecting to be aggressive in general.
Right.
If they are going to offer, they are expecting that they have to be somewhat aggressive. So not too many, I guess that's probably from the agents getting the message and passing it on to their buyers. And sometimes, we're working with these buyers for months at a time. So we tell them information months ago that maybe has started to change as time has gone on, but they're geared up, which is it's not a bad thing. I mean, it's good for the buyer to be we always want to work with buyers who are motivated and gonna go through with the process and really ready to do it. So that's great, but that might wane.
Yeah, I'm also seeing the shift in new home sales. Prime example, Carmel Cliff just released 3 lots, $100,000 lot premiums. Carmel Cliff by Pulte Homes in the Red Point Village, and normally, like 2 months ago, those would have been gone.
There'd be a waiting list.
Bidding wars, wait list, bidding wars. Now they still have them. They haven't even sold those 3 lots. So I'm noticing that new construction's also having like what they call those spec homes. I'm seeing standing inventory starting to come up. and homestay.
You're going to get some fallouts. You're going to
Yep.
get some fallouts. Now, the weight of the market is starting to show itself. The real,
However,
true weight.
It depends on also the location, because I did this weekend go to Inspirada. KB Homes had a lot release, and I had to stand in line on Sunday for my clients just to be put on the wait list. There was about 90 people in line.
Yeah.
But KB is an average home starting in the high.
Right. It's the price range.
Right.
And it's Inspirada too. I mean, obviously they don't have a lot of product like that in Summerlin. They have a little bit of it in Summerlin West, where you're talking, but they're much more expensive. And so Inspirada is kind of like, oh, look we get this mini Summerlin feel, and it's a very hot area, and so and that's really if the KB for those size, I think that's the only product they have like that there, from what I can recall. So, and they're kind of starting to get that project where it's, I don't know how much is left there, you know.
KB has a lot of, they bought a lot of land over there, so they have a lot of actual years to go.
Okay.
Yeah,
I guess it depends on the builder. I know KB has the most there, so that would make sense. They have the most land, and they have for a decade plus now. So
yeah, but
they said it would be a 20-year project.
Yeah,
I think they're probably gonna reproject that.
Wait outside, and I had to wait outside in a long line just to be put on a wait list, and then they give you a number. So my client's got number 37. So that means that they're their 37th person in line to finally get called to get a house. So that means that they're still 2 months out, and they've already been waiting for 4 months already on the wait list.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, but that's this. You're going to start seeing. It's basically the old saying, "Cream rises to the top." And so those really, really creamy places, the really, really awesome properties, they're still going to stay strong for a while, and we clearly have buyers that are waiting around, that are sitting on the sidelines, and they're going to filter in. And will we run through those buyers, and then on the other side of it have less buyers for these properties soon? I mean, what do you think?
I don't think so. I think, we'll always have buyers, because once the market starts really softening, they're going to be jumping on it like, white on rice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a weird thing, though, because it's almost like people love to stand in lines. They love to have the thing they can't have. I actually see that more often than not, in my experience, that the heat actually gets turned down even when it's a better time for buyers. I don't know why that is, but you've seen how hot it is, and people are just attracted to that. They're like, I've got to be here. I've got to have this. And to me, it's a strange human trait that we do. I've seen it all my life in Vegas, at least since the clubs have been around, because, there's these long lines outside of the club. The club is half full. It's not even, you can fit those people in, but they purposely make that line, because then it's like, oh, look, we're going into the club. Look how hot this place is,
Right.
I swear that's what's happening in our housing market. It's a very similar thing. It's not being created, though. It's not being manipulated. It happened because of the market circumstances, because of the inventory shortages, and buyers were ramping up.
Right.
But nonetheless, it's the same thing. Get in line. Oh, okay.
Right. Well, we see some viewers watching, but no comments. We just have this other person, this Raj person, but they keep on saying some crazy stuff.
Oh, really?
That's what. Yeah. Can you see the comments?
I'm not seeing them. No. Let me see if I can. Oh, okay, Raj. Wow.
Oh, really? That's what. Yeah. Can you see the comments?
I'm not seeing them. No. Let me see. I see them. Wow. What? Raj. Well, hey. I don't know what to say.
Anyways, so definitely, I think now is a good time to buy. It's a yes and no question, depending on your circumstances. I mean, depending on your situation, if you need to buy, need to get out where you're at. But there's a lot of other circumstances that are factors that are playing: the eviction moratorium ending, the forbearance period ending. So I think, we will start slowly seeing an influx of and flood of homes coming on the market before the forbearance period ends, so people don't lose their homes. And that should happen probably. Yeah. Hey, get off the phone.
Well, I'm looking up something. I please keep talking and telling me, because this is actually going to go towards what you're saying here.
So if the forbearance ends, I don't know, some people were extended to September, some people were extended to December, but the only difference now between this time around than the last crazy market is that people have equity in their homes. So they would be wise to sell their homes prior to it going crazy. But if we do, we're not going to take a dive like we've always said. It's going to be a gradual thing. But I think if we do gradually decline, it's going to be back to the numbers we were probably at the beginning of this year.
Yeah, well, and that'll take some time. I actually think that gradual good time. It would be very gradual. And I'm going to tell you why. There's a guy that I follow, and he's got good information all the time. The mortgage delinquency rates dropped to 5.4%, 5.47%, down from 8.22% a year earlier. So this goes to what you're talking about forbearance and those properties that might be in delinquency or potentially coming up to where they want to sell their property. They're making workouts for them, and they're getting knocked off of that list. And as long as those workouts work out, well, you're going to see that number continue to go down. That's my guess.
And see homes on the market.
What's that?
Then you won't see many homes on the market.
You will not see the same influx that I think some have predicted. And then even the influx that you do see, I think that will be spread out, and there will be some people who just say, you know what, I got to sell, can't work this out, let me just sell. They're going to take their equity, of course, right, and at least get their cash for their home and not have a foreclosure or any other short sale or anything on their hands. So this is where you're starting. I mean, not starting. We've been seeing a completely different attitude towards how they're dealing with delinquencies on the mortgage side than in starting in 2008. That was very different. That's right. Shortly thereafter is where I got in the business, and they were just yanking homes from people. This time around, they have learned their lesson, and the government is also not going to let them because of the pandemic. That's been part of the moratoriums that are speaking. So.
We had a question on what's the interest rate for investment property. I have no clue. It's probably in the mid 3s.
Yeah, it can be dependent, of course, on your credit ratings and where you are debt to income ratio. Even if you're really, really strong, they take a look at that. Let's just see if I can pull something up. So we have rates at, where's my favorite one? Un momento. Hold, please. Interest rates today. So the current rate is actually, looks like it's bumped up just a little bit to right about even 3 right now on a 30-year fixed. So it really depends. I have one right now that the buyer is being quoted a 6% rate. So right. So the thing is that's happening is
in the 4s.
What's that?
The second home, the interest rates are in the 4%.
Yeah, so that's what's been happening is that the banks have sort of said we don't want to really be doing a lot of these, so they've made those interest rates higher, and you basically like, hey, we feel it's more risky right now, so we're going to charge you more interest. So if you want to do that, you can. So I've seen it as high as 6. Now that was just a quote on a pre-approval. So that may not be what they may get it lower by the time it's all said and done. But yeah, I would say at least 3.8, 3.5 at the very best you could find. And that would very much be dependent on how much where you are credit-wise. Of course, you're going to put 25% down. 25% down on investment.
Yeah. Yep.
So you buy $1 million investment, you're putting how much down?
I don't know.
Quick math, 250,000. Yeah.
Good guess.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
It's easy. It's easy math. All right.
Any other questions out there? I see people watching. So, I did a quick rundown of numbers just to see where we stand month to date on what's happening. And I'm just going to go over the single family residents, or actually total for both single family condos and townhomes. And so far, month to date, we've had 3,118 units sold. So that's a lot. And then for under contract, we have 4,200 under contract right now that are supposed to close either within this month or part of September. Let me see if I have last month's number thing. So last month we had like 3,300 homes that sold, and right now it's August 26th. We've had 3,100 single family homes, and usually at the end of the month is when we see an uptick of a lot of things closing.
Yeah, of course. So I wonder your thoughts on, we know we went up, I hope I'm not derailing anything, but this just popped into my head. We know we went up to 405 median home price. Do you think it happens again? Do we see another movement for August?
Yeah.
What is your guess? Do you think it'll be as strong?
Probably another 410. Let's
Okay.
write it here. Angela says 410. What does Rob say?
I have to agree. I think it's going to be 3,000 to 6,000 increase, something like that. I think this may be where we're getting to the last month of August. If we see something mild in September, but I think for sure by October we're not seeing the median home price increase.
We'll see August increases because it's July sales, so
right.
People are back to school just yet. So I think we will have an increase, and then, like you said, September for sure. October we'll see it either stabilizing or slightly going down. Right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it'll go down just yet, but yeah, stabilizing, and then October just kind of evening out, maybe a downward trend, but that doesn't mean that we're suddenly falling off a cliff. It just means reality. We've hit that reality wall.
I think we're going to just stabilize and finally be
That's
where
what I want to see.
Yeah.
I'm hoping so.
Go ahead. What did you say?
Oh, I'm just hoping that we see stabilization. I think that we've already priced a number of people out of the market. And we need to stay on planet Earth. That's all.
I've been doing this for almost 6 years, and it's always gone up, and always hoped for stabilization. And back before the Raiders came, they said 2020 was going to be the crash of the market. Do you remember that? Everyone was predicting that the crash.
I've heard the crash every year. I've heard somebody say that every single year.
But every year we've gone up, and year to date we've gone up. Yeah. What? Almost 23%.
Yeah. And then nationally, almost 18%.
I saw a video I did last October, and then the median price was at $335,000.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I mean, huge. Yeah, it's massive. So I mean, the changes are going to start coming, but just going on to the whole will we crash thing. That's another great question. Will we crash? We could probably go on about this, but I don't think we crash. I think that we would see maybe some declines over time if the market doesn't stay hot, but crashing, unless something new comes into the marketplace, just you cannot count on that for anything. A lot of times people just think, oh, what goes up must come down, But you have to also, especially in the real estate market, and really anything, I would assume, but we know is the real estate market, you have to take into account as to what has happened. What are the factors that have created what has made the rise? And right now, there's been so much cash in the market. There's just a fuel injection of cash into our market where people are paying over appraisal. They're putting a lot down, doing all this, and that's hardcore cash. That came from somebody's bank account. That's not an appraiser walking out one day and going, that property's worth $30,000 more than it was last month. That's not what's happening. That's what was happening prior. And I just think people see that and they just go, 1 and 1 equals 2. I saw this before, and so this will happen again. It's just not that simple by any stretch.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of cash out there. Like, as you know, I'm going under contract, Mesa Ridge, $1.4 million base price. That doesn't even include the lot premium of $625,000. Any upgrades that my buyer selects, all cash.
Right. Beautiful. They're getting in on a primo spot. Yeah. And I can see from Mesa Ridge that what's being built over at the Summit, they're going crazy there. Those are multi-million-dollar homes at the Summit.
Oh yeah, their lot premiums are like $300,000. I mean $3 million.
Yeah.
Just for the lot premium.
For lot premiums.
Yeah.
That's that's a lot premium. That's a premium for sure.
Yeah, because I had clients that want to build in there, like, forget about it. I mean, $3 million for a lot premium, and the houses aren't that big, but it's kind of crazy over there, and they're selling.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy. You know my story. It's like if I just roll up and drive in there to take a picture, they're on you like white on rice. There, boom.
Oh, that's how ridges is too. You can't do ridges. I can't do video on ridges.
Oh, ridges is not nearly the same, but I guess you can't just be swinging around a camera if you're not careful. But I've stood out in front of the ridges and haven't had issues.
No, but if you go inside and say you're going to look at a house and then drive around, they stop you and say, "Hey, you're only going to be looking at that house. You need to go get out of here."
Really? Oh,
yeah.
I've got some secrets. Some secrets that'll.
Highlands, they're not strict at all. You can go drive around McDonald Highlands and no problem.
Yeah, most areas you can, and there are some secrets. As you know, I play the old tennis, and I go in there and I just say, "Hey, I'm playing tennis."
Oh. All right. So, hey, we got a couple questions. Any predictions on the real estate market in the spring? This is probably when I plan to buy, hopefully in the Peccole Ranch area.
Hey, welcome to my neighborhood. That's like, I live just east of Peccole Ranch. So, yeah, that's a good spot, right? Almost to Summerlin. What's that?
Don't you live north of Peccole Ranch?
I live east of it. Peccole's on the west side of Fort Apache, and I'm on the east side. So the springtime, wow, what do you think? What do you think's happening in spring?
Well, we did this last year, and we were totally off when we predicted last year. Honestly, I think, again, what I keep on reiterating, stabilizing, and maybe slight decrease, but I think it'll be a better time to buy. But I could be absolutely wrong.
So I think I would just add to what you're saying there. I would agree with that. I think that we're going to see more natural movements. In other words, so we know that this year's end, typically slows down and not as much movement. Could be a good time to buy between, I would say, October and January-ish. That could be really your hot spot. I do think we'll have a natural movement again, or not a natural movement, but just a more traditional movement in the springtime where we start to see a little bit, kind of the ramping up. And the big question will be is, are we going to have sellers that are all ready to put their properties on the market and not enough buyers? I mean, if that was the case, then it would be a sweet time to buy. But I actually don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to continue with a relatively slower pace on what we see listings and plenty of buyers.
Well, plus, especially if you have the whole Delta variant going on, who knows what this winter is going to look like. I hear a lot of people saying that we won't see anything really until 2023.
Anything? What do you mean by that?
related when it comes to affordability, and this whole ride won't be really until 2023 when you will see like some major changes.
Well, certainly, I think that goes along with some of the interest rate signals that have been given by the Fed and what they want to do. It's a 2 and 3 year period where they're saying they're going to start raising the interest rates, you know, and that was, they had said that a few months back. So that would fit with a slowing process. When it comes to what's happened with the old C word in the pandemic, I think that there are going to be some changes. I mean, they're predicting we're going to we basically are going to just be dealing with this for a while. So what my thoughts are on that is, you know, how are people more and more sort of pushed out in, you know, just their own individual ways, being pushed out of their states that they're living in to go to states that they feel like aren't pushing them away, that are more friendly to whether it's their wallet or just the restrictions or whatever that is causing some of these migrations. You know, will that continue? Because it's continued to be on the dock, so to speak. Those are things that are happening.
If California keeps on burning, people are going to be wanting to get out. But I also have a fellow YouTuber that I follow on YouTube that sells in the Austin market, and he's mentioning the similar things that we're seeing about the market softening. So I think it's across the country and not just Vegas. Builders are slowing down like we are as well. Now that there's not such a huge lumber shortage anymore, I think prices are still a little high when it comes to the other construction aspect of materials.
Oh, material inflation is still rampant. I mean, that's going to keep going. And I actually think with the injection of more government monies coming in and things, this inflation could be around for a little while. I mean, these are the we don't know type of things that could be coming into the market. What are the scenarios? What things could change our market? That might be one of them.
I'm reading the comments. I am not wearing giant sunglasses today, Mr. Vacation, because I am filming inside. And then he said he likes our hairs today.
Oh. All of them? He likes all of the hairs.
Hairs. Oh, Angela O'Hare, hairs.
I'll maybe go grab an actual hair.
My hair.
I have bunnies over there.
Oh yeah, you got another hair too.
Your hair does look great.
Thanks. Thankfully, I'm in no rush to buy, so the longer I wait, the bigger the down payment. Very true, Mark, because you're going to be saving some money. And those of you that can wait, I suggest waiting. I'm not the type of real estate agent that says, buy now, damn it. You're going to be missing out. It's going to keep on going higher. I mean, if you can wait it out.
Yeah. That's,
right?
You know, I say get ready. And I've always said, get ready for your opportunity. If you're not willing to get in while it's hot, if the water's a little warm for you, get ready. You know, I think we will see some cooling of sorts. And then at that point, does it make sense? If you're, again, I just think if you're looking for that big, you know, you might be waiting, you know. Yeah. I'm going to be all gray by the time we see that. That's my prediction.
Well, you know, real estate, as you mentioned before in the past, is not like the stock market where, you know, overnight it's going to crash. If it does, or if we do, we'll see a slight decline month to month to month to month.
Yeah, if we were to crash like the stock market, I'm just telling you, we are in deep doo-doo as a whole. I mean, real estate is almost not a worry anymore. It means something really bad has happened.
Did you buy into the whole Bitcoin thing? Did you ever buy Bitcoin?
I sure wish I did.
Oh,
I didn't.
I think it's just fake money, but you know, Elon Musk was making fun of Bitcoin and he sold all his shares. So once that happened, it was like, you know, is that real money? Lenders, I mean, it's hard to even buy anything with it.
I'm gonna go ahead and say this is an area that I haven't done enough research on and I don't know enough about. I think that if I was going to get involved in it, I know of a few people in my life that have done well, and I think it's mostly about the timing of when they did it. But I wouldn't know what to say about Bitcoin. I think it is going to be, I actually think in the long term, there are some reasons to believe it's going to be a strong currency because of the way, now maybe not Bitcoin is actually becoming, in my mind, from what I'm hearing about it, less of something because of the way that it's, that some of these things are being restricted, but the ones, I'm going to say the wrong things, that's why I don't want to say this, but there are some others that are even more intensely difficult to finagle, that I think that those have really high upsides to them. The ones that basically can't be regulated at all and obvious and are very, very obvious that they have only so much. Now, that's what's good about Bitcoin is there's only so much Bitcoin. And so, you know, at this point, you're not buying, unless you're paying thousands and thousands of dollars, you're not buying one Bitcoin, you're buying a piece of a Bitcoin, you know. So the more secure that is, the more that you can have anonymity when you purchase things, the more that you can do with the money. I actually, or what, you know, with the coin, I think that is intriguing. I can tell you for sure that governments like ours want to try to get their hands on regulating it, and they've got legislation in that have recently passed that they're trying to do that. So there's going to be a push and pull. It's a fight.
Yeah, interesting. I just wanted to, you know, we've been on for 41 minutes now, so I just really wanted to touch up what we touched up briefly in our last market update, which was the whole renting. Right? So I had to do some research, and that the Southern Nevada rents are climbing. They're at an escalating speed, outpacing markets across the country. So in the Review Journal, it stated that the rental rate in Las Vegas area homes soared up to 22.7% year over year in July to about the average is 1662 compared to the 9.2 jump nationally. And then we are ranked, let's see, the Valley's rent growth was the second fastest among 50 metro areas, with Phoenix being the #1 metro area at 23.1% growth. So we're at 22.7. Phoenix is at 23.1. So we have the highest rents across the country amongst the most 50 metro states.
Yeah, that's
and it's hard to find a rental here in Vegas. And like I had mentioned in the beginning of broadcast, my clients bought 2 new homes in Lennar Gray Cliff, and they're renting out $4,000 and $5,000 a month. You had an average of what, or medium of what? Remember last time?
I pulled up. It was $2,050 median.
Right.
So it's gone up a lot, and I mean, there's. When I think of bubble, I think there's a bubble somewhere in this rental increase because of the fact that I think that, you know, there's a point where wages and what people can make and pay for these rentals in certain, they're priced out. If you're priced out of a rental market, I mean, and then I think also that the parameters or you know, what it takes to get approved on a rental has become so high. What the owner expects from the tenant to qualify for is ridiculous. Usually rentals are perfectly good for people who might have some dings on their credit or not best credit. That's why they've got to rent. Maybe they're, you know, typically nobody wants to rent to somebody who's got evictions or anything really bad on there. But some little things and stuff are usually not an issue. Now it's like, wow, if you got anything, I mean, even if your credit is below like 700 in some cases, and then you're qualified to buy a home if you have the down payment. So it's like, so some of this is in bubble territory in my mind because somewhere along the line that has to settle down. I mean,
well, yeah, because there's people that have to work 2 jobs just to be able to afford to make rent, which is, that's not a way of living, in my opinion.
right. And what you're having is a lot of people move in together.
Yeah.
I'm just going to tell you that scenario only going to last so long for a lot of people. And it is something that, I just remember, many years ago buying my first home and finally being out of the rental game. I was like, oh, thank goodness. So
right.
I know it's very hard for people right now.
It is hard, but if you think about it, buying a house is much cheaper than renting.
Well, yeah, ultimately it's much cheaper. It's much
a lot less than your rent would be.
Well, that's certainly what's been created, and that's what's going to continue to spur our market. That being said, if the rug sort of starts to get pulled out from underneath the rental market, that's where we'll see some changes as well, even in the sales market, because obviously right now it's motivating people. If it becomes the other way around, where it's easier to get a rental, the market sort of shifts a little bit there. It'll take time. Like landlords aren't just going to suddenly say, yeah, I'll take less. No, they're going to try to keep it where it's at. But as competition starts to happen, and that means more, if I can go choose from 10 different rentals, as that starts to happen, then the changes will have to happen, and people will have to compete even in the rental market. How long will that take? That's the question.
And the thing is I have a lot of clients that want to relocate to Vegas, but they want to do short-term rentals for 3-6 months. And I'm like, it ain't happening unless you find an apartment. And then if you find an apartment,
pay some dope.
You'll be paying a lot of money for it. It is so hard to find a rental. And it's hard to find short-term rentals because, or Airbnbs, they're like limiting all of that kind of stuff here.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. I can't even really help anybody in the rental market right now. It's lame, I know, but people are, unfortunately, and I was on Fox 5 for this stuff. I mean, there's people being
rental scams.
There's scams going on. I think they've tried. I think from what I haven't seen I haven't gotten any more wind of those happening. But yeah, it's been insane.
Well, I sold a condo down on 89123 zip code, and the lockbox was gone from the listing agent, and then there was a new lockbox that popped up, and the house was already sold. So we're like, my assistant had to go down there and get bolt cutters and cut off that lockbox. Someone was probably pulling a scam.
So in the short sale days, I saw this happen a lot, because there would be a lot of vacant houses, a lot of foreclosed, going through foreclosure process, and then somebody would just figure out how to get in the house, and then they would put it up on Craigslist for rent, and they would meet the person at the house, take the security deposit, give them the key, and say, all right, see you later. And the people thought they had a legitimate rental. That was legitimately happening.
Right. Yeah.
And
crazy
that was tough times.
And you see a lot of scammers out there now just because of desperation for money.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, and then it says apartment rents have increased to 18% to the second quarter, and they have doubled since last quarter. So it's just crazy if you're renting an apartment, how much you're paying for a little 1,200 square foot apartment.
Right.
You're paying.
And they're building those rapidly too.
Right.
So that's another. There could be some converging forces here. If we get a whole bunch more sort of inventory that lands in our lap eventually, rental-wise. So we'll keep an eye on that and see if that changes. Hey, It must be nap time soon.
Yes, almost. Well, any other comments down there? This Raj is being cray-cray. I don't know who you are, but any suggestions for future topics of our next show? How did you like our show?
Yep.
Do you like this going live? Let us know in the comments what you think of this and if we should continue doing this. As you know, that we do the Robin Ange Real Estate Show, but we just got too busy. We stopped that January of this year. So this is kind of replacing the Robin Ange Show to the Robin Ange Hour, right?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Absolutely. That's what it's doing. And we'll even change our little logo there. It'll say Robin Ange Hour eventually.
Yeah, we're waiting for our logo designer to put hour on there. That's little. That's tiny. Can you even see it?
I can see it.
All right. So Mr. Vacation, besides our hair, what else? He's saying that he wants to go take a dip in the Bellagio fountain and have ice cream at the Mandalay bar. Please continue this show. Yeah. That's awesome. We like that comment. Are you seeing the comments?
No, I'm not. I have to switch over to. I see we have 27. Bitcoin is not backed by anything. Mr. Vacation said that. I'm not sure, Mr. Vacation. I'm not well versed in the Bitcoin. Let's see. Yeah, boy, he said a few things, didn't he? I'm going to buy a house in Vegas with Bitcoin. Yeah, you should. That's Montana poker player.
Bitcoin shares, they have to sit in the bank for like a month or so before you can do anything.
Yeah, well, and Montana poker player, I agree. I will stick to. Sorry, I think I went away for a second. Am I gone?
Yeah, you're gone.
Hopefully, I'm coming back, but you can hear me. I will stick to real estate. I touched on it a little bit more than I would normally. Bitcoin is not my forte whatsoever.
What happened?
I don't know. Let me see what's going on here. I'm going to try to put me back on. Oh, I think I made it worse.
You got Fabulous. A bubble. Mr. J. Mars, any information on Northwest Skye Canyon? I've done quite a few videos on Skye Canyon on my YouTube channel. Angela O'Hare, favorite Las Vegas realtor. I cover a lot of the communities on the northwest side of the valley: Skye Canyon, Providence, Desert Shores, the lakes, Peccole Ranch, and of course Summerlin. And there he is. All righty.
Yep.
Well, thanks, Rob, for joining. This is our first time doing StreamYard live. It was easy to figure out. I thought I had to do Zoom and record and yada yada, but this was simple. I had fun.
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
me too. Thanks for having me. I've got some listings going on. If I have one right now that's a fantastic investment property. You're looking for one. Bing, bing, bing. So I'll just do this every time it shuts off. Let's see if it does it again. All right. Anyway, that's terrible. So listings coming on. What's that?
Write in the comments what your listing is so they know and they can see it.
Yes, it's 4115 Santa Teresa. That's Terrasa. Las Vegas, Nevada 89121, I believe. So huge lot, 2,888 square feet. I like that number. It is a custom home with a rooftop deck. It's got, but it does need some love. But price per square foot, you're not going to find anything like it right now. So if you're looking for something like that, I would take this thing on if I could right now. This is the type of property I really like. RV parking. We got it at 375. 375. Wow, so yeah, for what it is and it's got new ACs on it, 2 remodeled bathrooms randomly that it has those things. The water heaters are relatively new. What's that?
What year?
It's in 1973.
Yeah, a lot of people like that area, the 89121 area. So that's a really good price.
Yep. It's solid as a rock. It's a great little property, needs a little love, but it's an opportunity for somebody. And I've got some more coming on. So yeah, check out my YouTube. Just find me, Rob Howe, H-A-U. Now you know how.
And right. Angela O'Hare, she's everywhere. That's my new slogan.
That's right. Angela O'Hare, she's everywhere. What the heck is this lady doing? It's true.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, you know what to do. Leave a comment down below, share, like, subscribe. We want the subscribers because we like to talk a lot about real estate, but rock on. Whoops.
Rock on.
Do it peacefully. And we'll see
you on the next one.
Bye, guys.
Bye.